So, as usual, welcome to the weekly market review sessions. This is where we get to check what the markets are doing at the moment and, predict what we can expect from the markets in the next couple of days or hours, as the case may be. All right. So tonight we're going to be starting with, the usual things that we start with. All right. We're going to start with the indices. I recall last week we were talking about the fact that we were expecting some kind of movements from the dollar, all right, but the dollar didn't really complete all the movements, all right, in its entirety. Okay, the dollar only completed two of the movements, all right, two legs of the movement, because as you can see here, we had this first leg that brought us right all the way down here. We've seen this second leg that's taken us here. All right, which means that the chances of a reaction from somewhere around here has been increased, all right, since that's going to give us some form of this is going to give us some form of a QML kind of pattern or kind of structure, all right, and then we can be able to ride from there, all right, somewhere around there. Okay, so that's for the dollar. So currently, we have not seen price do, complete that movement that we expect to see. All right, we've not seen price complete that movement, which means that right about now we can still get to have all the movements that we predicted since since last week. All right. All through this week, we didn't see so much solid movements from the market, and that's basically because USD, which is one of the most voluminous commodities, all right, has not really played out in detail, all right, has not completed the detail of what we expected it to do. Okay, and that's why, as you can see, we're expecting dollar to come into this zone, all right, and drop, or worst case scenario at all. If we're going to take this entire region as, liquidity grab zone, all right, it would mean that we're expecting prices to come into somewhere around here. All right, we're expecting prices to come into somewhere around there. Let me use it. Okay, so we expect prices to come into this zone, all right, so that we can see the completion of that movement, because as far as I'm concerned, I think the overall direction of the DXY for me, which is the dollar index, is still very, very bearish. All right, still very, very bearish. So worst case scenario is that the dollar index come this far, all right, before we see the drop. What does that mean? It means that the same biases I communicated to us since last week, bullish on EURUSD, bullish on GBPUSD, bearish on USDJPY, bearish on USD CAD, things like that, all right. These are still the kind of entries that we are still looking for this week, all right. USDCHF gave us some portions of the movements we were expecting, all right. EURCAD didn't get to our entry trigger, all right, but this was USDCHF, like I said, all right, and you can see we completed this 180 something pip move. All right, okay, yeah, 146 pips move, all right, and then, that was from that zone before we saw the possibility of a continuation from somewhere around here, or worst case scenario, somewhere around here. Now, I'm doing this recap because of those who missed recording, all right. I'm doing this recap because of those who missed last week's session, all right, and probably never got the time to actually go over the recording once again, okay. Our analysis, our bias from last week is still very much active, all right? It's still very much intact, okay? It has not yet been, invalidated. So for the dollar, we can see that we still expect an overall bearish. Let's quickly take a look at the Australian dollar. So this has been my bias on the AUD for a while now. I was expecting it to come all this way. I think it still might. All right, I think it still might. Let me quickly confirm with this. Okay, so AUD might not be as bearish anymore. Okay, let's look at this. All right, which means somewhere around here. So on the AXY, all right, which is for the Australian index, we might be seeing something along this line. So I might be seeing something along that line. Let me take this out. All right, so that's AXY. Australian index, we're expecting it to become stronger this week, which means that for a commodity like AUD USD, we're expecting a bullish kind of momentum, all right, or bullish movement, all right. So that's for AXY. We're expecting AXY to be bullish. Sorry, let me quickly document this. All right, so we'll go now to BXY, which is simply the pound index. All right, so as you can see, for the pound index, this was our prediction from last week, all right, that we're going to get a breakout of these two zones, all right, a retest. Let me go to the 4 hours time frame so it becomes clearer. All right, we're going to get a breakout, all right, and a retest of this zone, okay, so that pound could actually gain some more meaningful strength, all right. This was last week, okay, and as you can see, we had the breakout here, we had the retest here. Give us this move, all right. Currently, this is a retest of this demand zone here, all right, which means that we are still expecting prices to concur to this overall move, all right. So what does that mean? That means that GBP is also going to be bullish, all right. So next, we want to look at CXY, which is the Canadian dollar index, all right, and it tells us what strength or weakness to expect from the Canadian dollar. All right, let me see. Let me remove this. All right, so let's start from the daily time frame. Okay, so this is the daily time frame. We've seen price clear this zone here, all right, and come down here. So there's a likelihood that from here we see price bounce this week, okay, before we could possibly have a drop. Let me quickly corroborate that. All right, I think we're correct. Yeah, so we could see a possible bullish, bullish reaction from somewhere around here. For CXY, actually, for CXY. So let's see. That's the Canadian index. We've looked at the DXY, which is the dollar index. Now we'll look at the EXY, which is the euro index. All right, and it tells us what strength or weakness to expect from the euro in the coming days or weeks. All right. And I believe last week we talked specifically about the fact that the pound, all right, I was expecting the euro rather, and I was expecting the euro to rise a little bit. It might continue dropping, all right. It might still continue to drop once it gets to somewhere around this zone, okay. But on the overall, until it gets to somewhere around that zone, I told us yesterday, last week, that my bias was still going to be bullish, right? At least until it gets into that zone. However, right now it's becoming a lot more interesting because we already have these equal highs here. All right, we have those equal highs there, and we already have this, this trend line here. Some people will refer to this as a wedge, all right? People that trade chart patterns, but since I don't, I think the name is really not as important. So this is what my bias on Euro is, all right? Euro index. This is what I am expecting from the index as a whole, all right? All right. So this is for the Euro. All right. Please, if your mic is not muted, kindly mute it. I don't want to have to start. Okay. Thank you. So that's for EXY. All right. EXY, we're expecting it to be bullish. Next, we'll look at JPY basket. I think it's been a while since we talked about JPY basket on our Sunday market review sessions, or in our Sunday market review sessions, which I think is not the best. Okay, so this is JPY basket. Price is currently at that other block. We've seen equal lows. We've seen price coming here into this other block. Let me see. This is actually quite interesting. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so JPY basket, I think my overall bias is that JPY basket is still going up. All right, that's my bias. JPY basket is still going up. I recall this was a market analysis from the weekly time frame. Yes, where I described the fact that price was going to come into this other block zone here from the weekly time frame. Is low. I'm sure it's not the monthly time frame. I think it was on the weekly. This here is actually a zone, all right, and we can see that price is currently broken out of that zone, all right. So we've had a bullish break of structure. Currently, it seems like price is simply just retesting, retesting levels, all right, somewhere around here, okay. Worst case scenario, worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario, we get here, all right, as a result of that imbalance candle that I'm seeing, okay. All right, so that's the worst case scenario of what could possibly happen, all right, in the situation that we're in on the JPY basket. All right, so for the JPY basket, we're also bullish, all right, but it's going to most likely sell to buy, all right, or probably just shoot off and buy straight off from there. Okay, so I think this works better. So let's see what price does around that zone for the JPY basket. All right, now if you understand how to analyze the JPY basket well, right, and you're able to accurately predict it, trading commodities like USDJPY, GBPJPY is going to be absolute fun for you. All right, those commodities are money spinners because they are very volatile. All right, and as a result of their volatility, if you master it well, you can actually be spinning some good money for yourself every single trading day, all right, or every single time that you trade. Okay, so that's JPY basket. All right, I think that pretty much covers everything. DXY, we said DXY is still supposed to be bearish, all right, but it might likely buy a little bit before the sell continues. Okay, I think that's about it. Okay, so right now, any commodity that you want us to take a look at, please drop it in the chat box or in the comment section of the group. All right, and then we can be able to address it. As usual, we're going to start with the majors. All right, GBPUSD. All right, so I recall that last week, a lot of you gave up on this setup, all right, this GBPUSD setup, because I said it was going to come down this way, all right, and you saw it going higher, all right, so you tried jumping into the buy trade from somewhere around here, and it just didn't end well, all right. Why did that happen? The answer is very simple, all right, and the answer has to do with the fact that, remember, on the DXY, all right, DXY had not yet completed its actual cycle, all right, its full cycle, okay, and that was why all of this happened. Okay, that was why all of this happened. So let's see how it reacts from this point right now, all right, from that zone right now. I was initially expecting prices to come all the way to 1.19024, all right. That still may happen, all right, but I doubt it's going to happen at the moment, all right. Worst case scenario will probably come into somewhere around here, all right, worst case scenario. Okay, let me mark that out. All right, so that's worst case scenario, somewhere around the somewhere around 1.19511. All right. So that's for GU. That's if it doesn't react straight up from here, which means that we may see GU all right, so my CGU come bullish into this zone, then drop to take out all of this liquidity right here. All right, stop into this other block and then blast off. All right, so that's a possibility at the moment for GU. So where are the zones that we're looking at for entry? Most likely zone is still the 1.19511. All right, that's still the most feasible or most probable zone of entry. All right, beautiful. That confirms it. All right, so let's move on to EURUSD. All right, EURUSD on the 4 hours time frame. I recall this was also part of the setups I gave. All right, this was the first entry that I gave. It did a couple of pips. Price got to this entry, did about 50 something pips before we saw this huge drop to the second, to the second order block here, which also gave another, I think that was about 80 something pips. Okay, yeah, this one was 117 pips thereabouts. All right, before we saw this drop. Okay, now the interesting thing about EURUSD here is this. All right, so this is where we are at the moment. All right, this is where the market is at the moment. We've touched into the 882 or moved very close to it. This is 764. All right, and at the moment, we're most likely going to be seeing we're most likely going to be seeing prices all right, something like this. Let me remove this now. All right, so let's see how this plays out, okay? But that's the overall picture, okay? We've talked about the fact that the euro is expected to get stronger, all right, whereas the dollar is getting weaker, okay? Okay, so the next one, let's quickly look at gold. All right, I'm trying to get the list of indices or commodities that have been requested. All right, beautiful. So this is gold at the moment, all right. We've seen this really, really clear break. Sophie, the JPY breaker. All right, so as you can see, this is 0.76, this is 0.882, all right. Price is currently reacting from the 0.76. However, the fact that there's something I'm not very comfortable with. I feel like I should be comfortable with it, but I don't know why it's a bit scary for me. That's the fact that we have a whole lot of sweet spots, all right, gathering here. Okay, there's a whole lot of liquidity gathering here. Okay, so for me, that could be reason to believe, all right, that price would likely want to take out all of those liquidities, all right, and then, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, the possibility of price coming to take out all of this liquidity, all right, before going higher, all right, is very, very solid. Okay, so if I wanted to trade gold, all right, for the coming week, this area is where, this zone is where I'll be looking at, okay? Somewhere from maybe 1744.296. All right, 1744.296 and say 1733.611. All right, so let's see how that plays when price gets to that point. Okay, the next one as requested is GBP JPY. Yeah, that reminds me, I gave a setup on GBP Jpy last week, which was from this zone 163.475, and the market did over 220 pips from that entry. But unfortunately, I think a lot of us missed out on that setup. Maybe because I was indisposed last week, so I wasn't really available to put pressure on some of you guys to see the markets and take action. But nonetheless, it's a better week already. I'm recovering slowly but surely, and I think all I need now is just rest, and I'm sure that we can easily crush the markets this week. All right, so right now we've seen that price has broken out of this zone. Okay, we're expecting JPY to get stronger, right? Maybe after a short sell. All right, we're expecting JPY to get stronger, but we're expecting the pound to also get stronger as well. All right, so this becomes a dilemma. And what I'm simply going to be waiting for is most likely price getting into this zone, all right? When my stochastics correlates with that, I am going to confirm that as a QML. All right, so that's going to be a bullish reversal QML. All right, that takes us into the continuation of the downtrend. Okay, Mr. Skittles, please, I hope you are aware that I am not feeling so strong. I'm not at the top of my game right now. You've loaded me with so many inquiries in the last 3 minutes. But let's see, I'll try my best to attend to your request. So that would be my expectation, all right, for GBPJPY, which is also going to correspond with our FOB levels. Right, as you can see, it corresponds with our FOB levels. So I want to see what price does there, provided that price gets there, and I'm seeing some very good action or reaction on the stocks. All right, so that's for GBP JPY. The next one is Euro CHF. All right, I think King FX's request will be the last I will be attending to tonight. All right, just to ensure that I don't end up becoming redundant after this session, and I can still be useful to myself. Okay, so for Euro CHF, as you can see, I still have the zone marked. I'm still expecting price to get to that zone. All right, so if you are looking to trade Euro CHF, please calmly wait for prices to get to that region. All right. Let me see. Yeah, it's an FOB zone, which is between 0.98475, 0.98475, and let's just say 0.98833. All right, so that's Euro CHF. That will still be my preferred entry. The Stoves is showing that there's a possibility that we have a bullish breakout before price dumps heavily. So let's see what happens when price gets to that other block region. Okay, let's take this out. The next is Euro USD. I think we talked about Euro USD already. US30. All right, so I remember this was a setup I gave, I think, about 6 weeks, or no, it's not 6, about 4 weeks ago. This was 20-something of June, 22nd of June. Yeah, this was the setup, and every single time you guys have asked me about US30, I have always told you that this is still my bias on US30. Okay, I've told you guys again and again that this is still my bias on US30. All right. However, this time around, we may see price come here. All right. I said that dollar is going to kind of buy to sell. All right. So that short period of a bullish impulse could end up giving us, this decline in US30 until we get the push. Why am I saying this? Many of you, when I was able to, get back into the group, I saw that a lot of you had become donors, all right, to your brokers, because you guys wanted to just be correct at all costs. All right, you just wanted to make sure that you were taking trades at all costs. When you trade indices, all right, when you trade indices like this, one of the major things you must never let go of, that you must keep your eye on steadily and consistently, all right, is the dollar index, all right, the DXY. You have to just ensure that your eyes are on that index consistently, because any small movement on the dollar index can give massive, insane moves on the US30, the US 500, the Nasdaq 100. All right. So that's my 2 pence advice. All right. So if you want to trade indices like this and you don't want to continue losing money, All right, you have to be very smart about it. As you can see, this was also another block that I marked out way back. All right, this one ratio 23.68 trade already got completed already, as you can see. All right, this is not the first time I'm putting up this setup. However, I'm expecting that this should also play out completely. This is my second entry. I'm expecting it to also play out completely. It's just a 1:8 risk to reward, so it's not too much of a big deal. All right. So that's US30. Let's check Nasdaq. All right. So for Nasdaq, as you can see, we are in this for US 100. All right, we are in this zone here that I already marked as my other block. All right, which means that since we're also expecting the dollar to buy to sell, all right, slightly buy, all right, and then dump. What that means is that we may expect all right, we may expect something along this line. Okay, that will bring us into this zone. All right, something along this line. Okay, for the US 100. Okay, the next one is US 500. All right, I think I showed, this was a setup I gave us last week. I don't know if any of you guys took this setup. If you remember this setup, please drop an emoji in the chat box or in the group. Let me know that you remember this setup. On this index, all right, this move has given over 2,536 pips. All right, just this simple movement from that entry, and we know that this is usually my final take profit. All right, so if you remember this setup, drop an emoji in the group. Let me know that you remember this setup. US 500. Good. You know, it was so painful for me that by the time I was going to come back, I saw that many of you are taking trades that I didn't send you to. All right, you had already violated the things that I had shown you. All right, the things that I already showed you, clear biases. All right, you see a screenshot on the group and then you take it and end up losing your money. Whenever we have market review sessions like this, I expect sincerely that you take note of the entry points, because even myself, all right, when we have market review sessions like this, I jot down the expected entry points, all right, what the setup looks like, and so that I can follow up on it. All right, but most of you just, you just attend for attendance sake. You formulate a general bias. You just take any entry from anywhere that you find it. All right, so please, guys, don't do that anymore. All right, for those of you who have been doing that, you are hereby forgiven. But please go and sin no more. All right, so like I said, we're expecting the dollar to maybe gain a bit of strength first and then drop. So this would explain what we are going to be expecting on US 500 the next couple of days. All right, for the next couple of days. So let's see what happens. But overall, I think that it's a good time to have a pullback, all right, a healthy pullback into that zone. All right, at which point I think we'll be expecting, oh, beautiful. Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so by that time, we would have a convergence, all right, and that convergence would lead us into a bullish continuation from that pullback. All right, as expected, that is also very close to an FOB zone. So let's see how this plays out. US 500 overall bias is bullish. However, we might see price drop a little bit into, that more discounted price zone. All right, so let's see how the market responds to that. Okay, the next commodity we're going to be taking a look at, the next one is GBPJPY. I think we looked at that already. USDJPY. All right, USDJPY, as you can see, USDJPY is currently at a zone. I think this was also shared with us last week. I think on Sunday we looked at this zone as a potential rejection zone. Price got there, gave us about 60 something pips. Okay, this was about 170 pips. All right, 170 pips, then pushed back up from this OB region, all right, pushed right up, all right, and has come into this other block zone now. Okay, so what are we expecting from USDJPY? I think it is pretty obvious already what we're expecting from USDJPY. All right, I think it's pretty obvious what we're expecting from USDJPY. So USDJPY, I think it's safe to assume that from the 135.197 or somewhere around 135.451. Nah, that's not it. 135.451, between somewhere around there and 136.208. 136.208. So that's USDJPY. Let's look at Euro AUD. All right, Euro AUD. This is Euro AUD. I think I was expecting a sell from this zone here. All right. Price didn't exactly follow the the setup. All right, but we still had that bearish reaction, which I very much anticipated. All right, which I very much anticipated. But nonetheless, right around this zone, I think it's safe to assume, all right, that Euro AUD has changed bullish or is preparing to change bullish. All right, it's preparing for a bullish reversal, in my opinion. All right, in my opinion. All right, so which means that at that point we will probably have seen, equal lows somewhere around there. All right, and then we have seen this sweet trendline liquidity, and then it would have busted into this area. All right, something along that line. Okay, worst case scenario, we'll probably come into this this FOB zone here. All right, but as far as I'm concerned, I think I've seen this break of structure. I've seen this break of structure as well. All right, I've seen this break of structure. All right, so worst case scenario is that we have prices coming into this region. All right, from a very, very technical point of view. Okay, so Euro AUD, there are about 3 options. All right, Euro AUD. Although I wouldn't be taking any, these trades until my setup is well aligned. All right, Euro AUD is from either 1.46426 or anywhere between 1.46118 to 1.45868. All right. So the next one, EUROCAD. I'm sure a lot of you would have missed out on this EUROCAD setup. I'm pretty certain. But this was the setup we looked at since last week. All right, and I told you that we were supposed to see price come into somewhere around here, all right, before giving us a reaction. And as you can see, this order block did not disappoint. It didn't get to the overall main entry, all right, but at least we saw this liquidity grab somewhere around here, all right, trendline liquidity grab as well. And this was a move of about 166 pips. Okay, so what next for EUROCAD? The answer is pretty simple. Right around here now, this is what we're looking at. Break of structure. All right, break of structure. We've seen equal lows here. All right, we've seen equal lows here. We've seen equal lows somewhere around here. All right. So for me, I think I literally just want to see price do this and then bounce. That's honestly what I just want to see, all right? Maybe from this overall order block here on the 4 hours time frame. Okay, to spread out our chances. So EUROCAD, our entries are somewhere between 1.307781 and 1.30479. All right, between those two options. Okay, that's what we're looking at the moment. EUROCAD. Okay, I think that's EUROCAD. The next one is ETHUSD. All right. As much as I try to avoid talking about crypto, all right, because I have a different EasyFX has a different department that that addresses crypto-related issues. All right, crypto trading trainings, crypto arbitrage, crypto futures, crypto sports trading, anything crypto. All right, there's a different arm of the company that deals with that. Okay, so I try my best to not shoot myself in the leg by trying to talk about crypto. All right, since I already have people, capable hands who do that. But nonetheless, as you guys have asked, okay, let's look at crypto from ETHUSD from a sweet boy perspective. All right, so this would be all right. So that's my expectation on ETHUSD. All right. Yeah, so that's an FOB. All right, that's an FOB. So that makes it a bit more confirmed. All right, so we already reacted from this other block here. Okay, there could be a bit of a caution around this area. All right, that's why that's my destination for the buy, for that actual buy. Maybe until we reach somewhere around here again, before we have any serious contentions on price. All right, so I think that works for me. Okay, I think the ETHUSD has been addressed. AUDNZD. All right, AUDNZD. I'm sure many of you will not remember this setup. All right, I gave us this as a POI. I told us there were two possibilities. This was early July. I told us that we're going to see prices push all the way this way, bounce all the way to the top here, and then start dropping. Currently, we have seen that the drop has already begun. All right. However, it's important that we have the, a very sweet spot for our entry. So we've seen all of these equal highs. All right, so that's our FOB. All right, that's our FOB. So what are we expecting? We're expecting price to take out the liquidity, then what? Then drop. Because if you check this closely, you see that there's actually still a whole lot of, liquidity still waiting all around this side, all right, still waiting to be taken out. And from the daily perspective or from the daily point of view, all right, price has not yet fulfilled the criteria, all right, of taking out these lows, all right, taking out these lows and then dropping maybe even to somewhere around here. But nonetheless, in order not to be too optimistic and then end up losing everything at once, all right, it means that we're targeting this. It's not much. It's about 136 pips, 136 pips move, all right, from AUDNZD. So the areas we're looking at specifically for our most meaningful entry would be between will be between 1.10839, all right, and 1.10984. Okay, so that's for AUDUSD, AUDNZD, all right, AUDNZD. USD card. All right, I recall this was this entry we were looking at last week, all right, somewhere around here for the USD card sale, all right. It didn't play out as expected, but there was no worries about that because initially I told us that, this already was looking like a shabby market, right? And as you can see, price came back into this other block. Price came back into this actual order block. All right. So what are we looking at right now? The answer is simple. We've seen price take out all of this liquidity. All right. We've broken structure here. All right. We've broken structure here. We've broken here too. The price has come to test into this other block, which means that, as far as I'm concerned, since our overall bias on the USD is bearish, all right, we may see something along this line. All right, that's because currently the card is looking weak. All right, the Canadian dollar is also looking quite weak. All right, however, in the event that price breaks below this zone, all right, in the event that price breaks below that zone, all right, then we'll be looking for an opportunity to sell all the way down to this region. All right, since there's this huge imbalance here that is just screaming and waiting to be filled. Okay, so that's for USD card. Okay, I think that's all for tonight. Sincere apologies to everybody who was hoping to be able to ask me a question or two. All right, I really apologize. I am not at the top of my game at the moment. All right, I'm still recuperating, but I consider it expedient that I at least have this session with us. All right, put us through, prepare us for what the market holds, so that what happened last week will not happen again. All right, so that you guys are better equipped, better prepared. You know exactly what zones you're looking out for, all right, you're watching out for, and you can basically just scale from those zones, all right? So I want to say a big thank you to you guys. Thank you so much for attending tonight's market review session. There are a lot of developments cooking in the background. I can assure you it's a lot. It's a whole lot of amazing, massive, progress, all right? I don't want to start letting the cat out of the bag yet, all right, just yet. But I can assure you that if you stick with us, follow us through this journey, this process, all right, I can assure you, you will not miss out. Okay, there are so many goodies that we're going to be giving out that will definitely transform your trading experience, all right? So I want you to stay tuned. There's a lot in store. If you're not yet a member of this group, all right, or the platform, all right, just simply search for EZFX_Academy, EZFX_Academy on Telegram, or click the link in the description. You will definitely be able to get across to this platform and participate in our live market analysis sessions. All right. So I want to say a big thank you once again for joining us tonight. My name remains Adetola Obunkole Freeman, and I am your host and lead instructor at EZFX Academy. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic rest of the week. I wish you a very profitable week. God bless you. Bye-bye.